Ever since Marvel Rivals came out, I've been trying to find the perfect controller sensitivity. The last video I made felt really good, and I actually used it the entirety of Season 0, and I managed to hit top 3 on console and Eternity on PC, but I had to end up making changes to it due to the beginning of Season 1, changing how the sensitivity boost worked. It made me spend literally hours trying to figure out the right sense, and finally, after consistent trial and error, I have managed to find something that genuinely feels so good. Just for evidence of it working, I streamed every game I played on my main account on Xbox, and I am currently 29-0 Celestial 2, so the sensitivity really made my aim even better than it was before. One more thing, I'm going to start with the general settings that I currently use for every role, but I will include timestamps for the DPS heroes that have slight sensitivity or button variation. In the future, I will make a tank and support video, but for now, my main role is DPS, so if you don't see a specific timestamp here for a DPS hero, just know that it is the following default sensitivity. To start it off, I have the horizontal and vertical set at 175, 185. The slightly higher vertical does feel great for me, but I'd understand if you want to set them at the same number. You actually can mess with these numbers as much as you want because these aren't really that important. What is extremely important in all of this is the dual zone curve that I created. If you remember the last video, you'd remember that what I have right now is very similar to it. All I realistically changed was the custom maximum range from 30 to 4. Now, it is very important for you to know that this setting specifically acts as kind of another Deadzone setting besides the Deadzone settings in the game. The lower it is, the smoother it feels, but you need to know that it is possible to get stick drift if you set it too low. I found that for me and my controller, 4 works and feels the best. I did mess around with 2 for a little bit, which is the lowest, but it did cause stick drift every now and then, so 4 works best because it is the lowest I can get without feeling too loose. Now for the 75, this number is just something that I found works really well when paired with these other settings. Now I have heard from people that if you set it from top to bottom, 1, 2, 99, 99, you get the feel of a true linear setting. Now I've tried this myself and I honestly really don't like the feel of it as it is too floppy. I like the feel of my custom curve setting because it is very close to that linear, but it still has that tight feeling of dual zone setting. As for the input Deadzone settings in the game, setting them both to 0 is something that I always try to do in every game I'm in. However, what's funny is that the custom maximum range that I talked about earlier kind of acts more of a Deadzone setting than the real Deadzone setting does itself. Moving on to the sensitivity boost and response time, in the last video I had to set to 30-35, but as I mentioned earlier, they actually changed the sensitivity boost, so how it works now is how it was supposed to work then. The response time and boost are actually in sync, and you will feel it if you mess around with it, but in order to get that tight dual zone feel, I have it set to 70-100 for a slight boost when turning, but still an overall control over it. The reason I have it set to 70-100 is all off of guessing, because when you load up the game, the default settings are at 0 boost, 30 response time, so I took this ratio and I upped it to the max, which is 70-100. This is something that I definitely suggest you mess around with yourself, because if you take away anything to use for yourself from this video, I would 100% recommend the curve that I talked about previously. Everything else, including this sensitivity boost and response time, can just be changed to your specific liking through like trial and error. Moving on to the next setting, my aim assist window size is set to the default of 50. Having it at 50 still gives you that strong aim assist feel, but helps prevent any overlapping when there are multiple people on your screen. If you're going to change any of these 2 aim assist settings, always change this instead of the aim assist strength. You always want to keep that at 100 because there is genuinely no point in having weaker aim assist in a game where the aim assist is already pretty weak. For the aim assist ease-in, I have both hit scan and projectile heroes at 75 with the melee heroes at the default being 0. I just copied this from my Overwatch settings and I have to admit, it does feel just as good in this game as it does in Overwatch. You can try 50 as well, but I just recommend you don't set it too high like 100 or too low like 0. These are the crosshair settings I use. I do get asked this a lot, and what I don't show in the clip right now is that I have the dot opacity set to 0 in the specific settings section so that it doesn't show up on the screen. Moving on to the specific heroes of the video, we're going to start with Black Panther. For Black Panther, I have the horizontal and vertical changed to 285, 295 because you do want that fast sensitivity for a hero like this. I also changed the sensitivity boost to 100, which I do for almost all melee heroes, which you'll see later in the video. Moving on to the binds, I do change the buttons for his kick and dash attack. I move his kick to the right bumper and his dash to the left. I basically just interchange the 2. And this is simply because Genji from Overwatch has his dash on left bumper, and I wanted that same muscle memory I've built applied here. Moving on to the next DPS, Iron Fist, I again changed the horizontal and vertical to 260 and 270. These heroes really don't require aim at all, so a faster change to these horizontal and vertical settings is always good. And again, I changed the boost from 70 to 100. Now moving on to Magik, I know this hero doesn't require aim, but I did only change it to 200 and 210. Magik, this sensitivity isn't as fast as the others because I don't like it too fast on this hero, which, you know, it's just personal preference. And again, the boost is at 100 from 70. Now, on to my most requested hero in my stream, and just requested in my comments and my messages, Psylocke. This hero contains the exact same curve and everything, but I have the horizontal and vertical changed to 195, 205. This feels absolutely perfect on the hero. You do need that fast sensitivity to dash either away or to high ground, and this is what I found that has that perfect balance of fast for those reasons, but slow for the aim. Just give it a try and I guarantee you will love it. For Spider-Man, I found that 205 and 215 works great for this hero. You do want a fast sensitivity on him, but you can't go too fast because you still need to aim his primary fire. And again, I do have that boost set to 100. As I was recording this video, I started playing Black Widow, and I found that these changes to the scope sense feel really good. So if you want to play this hero, I recommend that you use this scope with my sensitivity. Moving on to the last CPS hero with changes, we have Star-Lord. The sensitivity is exactly the same, but I do make the changes to the buttons to match from Tracer. I changed his stellar shift from left trigger to left bumper, and I changed his spin ability from left bumper to left trigger. Again, I just interchanged the two. This, just again, I'm matching from Overwatch because I don't want my muscle memory being too different, and I do like it when it matches pretty well. Now, those are all the changes that I've made to my Marvel Rivals settings that have helped me dominate my lobby. These have genuinely taken me a long time to figure out and publish for you guys, so I really appreciate any support on this video. If you guys want to take a support settings video, just let me know in the comments. I do plan on making it in the future once I get more time on those roles. So thank you guys for watching. I love you all. See you guys in the next one.